Can't do it. Oh, there we go. Mics are up, baby.
This is nice, isn't it? Right.
Talk Sport.
And action.
Welcome to TalkSport Radio. The time is 16:28. My name's Matt Purdy.
And I'm Toby Hill.
And we're your hosts for the next half an hour, talking all things football and sports news from around the world. Tobes, we've got loads to get through over the next half an hour, but before we dive in, here's Will Stevens with your sports news headlines.
In the Premier League, we had a terrific weekend of results where Tottenham thrashed an injury-plagued Newcastle 4-1. Here's what Spurs manager Big Ange had to say.
Yeah, I thought we were, a lot more sort of bright in that front third, and a lot more aware of the opportunities that were before us. And I thought Sonny was excellent, particularly in the first half, just to really cause them problems, just by being positive. And those kind of things feed off to other guys, and they see his sort of authority in that area, and they take a lead from that.
In form, Aston Villa capped off a superb week after their midweek win against Manchester City by triumphing over Arsenal 1-0 to go third in the league.
And we are playing with 11 players and one more is our supporter fans, being always transmitting their energy.
Bournemouth won for the first time ever at Manchester United's Old Trafford through their 3-0 win to put Ten Hag's job under pressure. Liverpool stayed top of the league after beating Crystal Palace away. Fulham won 5-0 for the second week in a row against West Ham, and Everton continue their hot streak of form after beating Chelsea 2-0. Chelsea boss Mauricio Pochettino has now claimed that his side are now realistically aiming for mid-table.
Reality check. We need to fight. We need to be there. We know that if we want to win is to be more rather in our behavior, in our way to to perform.
Moving to golf now, where Masters winner Jon Rahm has recently joined Live Golf for a £450 million deal in Saudi Arabia. The controversy of this story has come after Rahm previously criticised Live Golf's format and claimed that he played golf for the love of the game and not the money. The previous world number one has defended himself by insisting that he is taking the deal to grow the game.
I think the innovation and the vision of Live Golf is what pushed me over to at least give it a chance and hear the pitch out, and ultimately ended up being what I guess I wanted to hear, right?
In the boxing world, 25-year-old Devin Haney becomes two-weight world champion after an unanimous decision against Regis Prograis. Devin Haney made it 31 wins unbeaten with an impressive victory over Prograis to become WBC light or welterweight champion in his first fight at the weight. Meanwhile, in the WSL, Arsenal beat Chelsea 4-1 through an Alessio Russo double. This now means that Arsenal and Chelsea are both level on points at the top of the table with 22 points each. Arsenal have set a new WSL attendance record as a crowd of 59,042 people watched their match against Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday. Man United thrashed Spurs 4-0 away from home, moving them up to 4th in the league. Elsewhere in the football world, ex-professional Joey Barton has sparked an outrage on social media after his controversial tweets about how women shouldn't talk over men's games have gone viral. Female commentators Laura Woods and Alice Scott have both condemned Barton online for his misogynistic posts. That's all from me now. Signing off, Will Stevens.
Yeah, Tobes, I think we'll start at the end of that news bulletin. You hear there about the WSL, superb attendance rates at the Emirates, new record in WSL history, almost 60,000, almost a sellout at the Emirates, probably more than some of the men's games get down there. But the whole weekend and the whole sort of last few days of the football and sporting world has been marred ever so slightly with those comments from Joey Barton. For those of you at home who don't know, we'll read out some of the tweets that he's been saying. So again, these are not my words, these are the words of Joey Barton. He said, "Women should not be talking with any kind of authority in the men's game. Come on, let's be serious. I cannot take a thing they say serious in the men's arena. It's a completely different game." He goes on to say, through a multitude of tweets, things like, "Look at the nonsense. You give them an inch. Surely enough's enough, men," and uses the hashtag get them out. Which I think, Tobes, I speak for everyone here at TalkSport when I say that is just completely unacceptable words to be using, and it's disgusting really. Where do you even begin with this?
I mean, first of all, if we touch on the WSL record, I mean, it's so amazing. I think as an Arsenal fan myself, it's great to see what the club's doing there. But it has been a bit hard with what Barton's been saying. I mean, like when I'm watching the football, there's so many great women now who are like in the presenter roles, commentating. Of course, there's like Alex Scott, Laura Woods. It's just so good to see. But I just don't get where he's coming from. Like I can read through his tweets. And, you know, I get he kind of goes from that aspect of, you know, they've not played the men's game. Well, so many pundits and so many commentators also haven't played the men's game, but they're still able to come in and be like be pundits, be commentators, and just talk about the match. So just, I don't get why he draws the line when it's women talking about it, when the men absolutely can if they've not played.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I'm sure there are people listening who think that two blokes sat here maybe aren't the best people to be sat here talking about women's rights and then women in sport as much as we support it. So we've been out today, Tobes, and we spoke to some influential women in the broadcast world. I had a catch up with Sam Lloyd, the managing director of Lloyd Bell Productions, and asked her for her thoughts on the way Barton has been acting.
It's inexcusable, quite frankly. There's no need for that. It's rude, it's contentious. I think it just reflects the media cultural society that we live in, that everyone thinks that they've got a voice. And, you know, it's those keyboard warriors, and he is an awful example of it, that he feels he can say what he wants to say because he's got an incredibly high opinion of himself because he's played sport. And he thinks that he can just go out in the public domain and make these really awful kind of comments. And I don't think he should be given the airtime or the space, quite frankly.
Do you have any words for any young females who maybe were looking to get into the industry that have seen these?
Ignore. Don't even read them. Don't even look at it. How can you respect an individual like that? For any females aspiring to get into the industry, it should make you even more bullish. Stop talking about it. Actually, words and actions speak louder than words. So consequently, I have a wry smile on my face with people like that, because you just need to prove your mettle, prove your professional worth, and show them what you can do, and ignore idiots like that.
Yeah, some strong words there from Sam Lloyd, a woman who's done it all in the broadcast world. She's worked for World Rally, she's worked for Radio Wimbledon, ITV Wales, ESPN, and of course in the early 2000s set up her own company, Lloyd Bell Productions, as well. So if Barton had any thoughts that she wasn't qualified for those comments, we can assure him she was. And of course, as you said there, Toby, it's unacceptable.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Sam as well, obviously we know her quite well now, which is, like, you look at the work she's done, of course, you just listed off a few, and she's almost like an inspiration. Like, when you go and see it and you see how confident she is presenting, and obviously the radio stuff, her voice, like the way she does it, it's just amazing. But yeah, I mean, Barton's not really got a leg to stand on there.
No, and she's in front of the camera, but if there were any thoughts about people behind the camera as well, we caught up with the technical production engineer at Matchroom Sports, Rachel Jones, who's also told us her thoughts on Barton and gave us some influential women who are doing their part out in the world of broadcast.
I don't know, it's not reasonable. Like, you look at media, like nowadays, the presenters, you've got like Alex Scott on the football, you've got Laura Woods in boxing, darts, Emma Payson, like loads of other female presenters who are knowledgeable, have worked really hard to get to where they are. And if anything, every sport needs that little bit extra to show off what's going on. It shouldn't be a bad thing that they're on social media.
Yep, some more strong words from Rachel Jones there, who she's absolutely right. Shouldn't be a bad thing, and we should be supporting them. But I'm going to be honest, I've had enough of talking about Barton. He's a joke. He's a disgrace. Let's just move on.
Absolutely.
I'm sick of talking about it. We love our women in the broadcast world. They deserve their place at the table. So let's move on, Tobes, from the WSL to the Premier League results roundup. Now, Will mentioned it earlier in the news bulletin there. So let's just talk about yesterday's fixtures and everything that went on. Let's start at the Everton-Chelsea game. A huge upset there. Chelsea, obviously, they've won a couple Champions Leagues over the last decade. They're Premier League winners multiple occasions, going through a tough period at the moment. And 2-0 away to 10-point deductees, Everton.
I know. I'd almost argue it's not a huge upset. Like, when you've looked at how well Everton have been playing this season, I mean, even if they hadn't had that 10-point deduction, they'd be above Chelsea. Like, Sean Dyche has actually got them playing quite good football. Like, I know, obviously, they nearly got relegated this season, and they have only just got out of the relegation zone, but that is because of the 10-point deduction that they got. And Chelsea, they're just not in a good spot at the moment. Like, they brought in Pochettino. They've spent so much money that you'd think they'd be, at least challenging for top 4. But it's just not happening. And I don't know where they go from now, because do they go out and spend even more money on players, or do they, try and do a reset, which is what I thought they'd done when they brought Pochettino in. But it's just not working out for Chelsea.
Yeah, shocking upset for sure. But from one London club in Chelsea to 2 London clubs, Fulham stick 5 past West Ham. Who saw that one coming?
I mean, not me. And that's, even though they beat Nottingham Forest 5-0 just the other day. I mean, Fulham, they've come out firing. Raul Jimenez, who, when they first signed him, they lost Mitrovic to the Saudi League. And I wasn't convinced on Jimenez. Of course,
a bit washed up.
He was very good at Wolves up until he got that head injury back in about 2021. But now, I mean, he's done well. They've signed Iwobi, who from Everton I thought wasn't a great signing, if I'm going to be honest. But he's come out firing as well now. But West Ham, I believe that they had a few injuries. It wasn't their first team, but to lose 5-0 away at Fulham, it's not good enough from David Moyes. But I've heard some of my friends are West Ham fans. Some of them have been saying about him going, but I don't think it's time for Moyes.
Yes. It's a big result for sure. Well done to Fulham there. 5 goals, that's a hell of a result for them. Now, speaking of big results, it was almost a big result for Luton Town. 2-1 to Man City in the end, but that was the least amount of shots on target by any team in Pep Guardiola's history. Barcelona, Bayern, Man City, they had 2 shots on target, 2 goals. Did they just about get away with this one?
I mean, I was watching it and it seemed like they did. I mean, Luton were looking good, and Kenilworth Road is a difficult place to go. Arsenal only just won there. Liverpool only picked up a point. And City now, they didn't look like creating much. And as you said, they didn't have that many shots. But is that what comes when you miss out on Erling Haaland? Of course, De Bruyne's not there as well. And is this a sign for City to come? Like, they're not performing as well as they have been at this stage in the seasons.
And then we'll just touch on the last game of the day. Spurs 4, Newcastle 1, a demolition from the boys in white.
Yeah, I mean, they played very, very well. I was almost surprised, but when they went 1-0 up, I was hoping, of course, that, as an Arsenal fan, I was hoping that it would be a classic Spurs thing of them to lose after picking up that first goal, but they did well. I can't complain. Newcastle, I was surprised. I was surprised that they didn't perform that well, but Spurs, hats off to them for yesterday. They played very well.
And from one struggling Saudi-backed team, well, we'll keep on the topic of Saudi-backed sporting initiatives, and we'll move to Live, because John Rahm has gone to Live Golf. This is huge, Toby. This is absolutely massive. This is a man who has said he plays for the love of the game. He's been now labelled a hypocrite. He's gone over in a $450 million contract, which is obscene money. I'm sure everyone will agree. And it's a man who said he would not go for the money. He plays for the love of the game. He loved the PGA Tour. Wow.
I know. Honestly, Matt, I am disgusted. I thought that he wouldn't go. It's hypocritical at its core. How can someone say, they love the game and it's not about money, and then they go 450 million? That is, of course, a lot of money, and it kind of reminds me of Jordan Henderson, obviously, also going over to Saudi from Liverpool, and they both say, it's the project, it's about how good it is there. Mate, we all know it's for the money. It's hypocrisy at its finest.
Would you take that money right now to move to a Saudi-backed TalkSport station?
Absolutely not.
No, he's having us on. No, not a chance.
I would not.
You would definitely take. I'd take that money. I love you, TalkSport, but I'd take that money in a heartbeat. $450 million.
And you'd lose your pride for that money. Your core, your honour. You'd lose that for that money. It's not worth it.
$450 million. I'd lose a lot.
And that is an absolute joke. I cannot believe that, because it's in these moments where you stand up for what's right, and they are not right. It's sport washing at its finest, and I will not put up with it. If you went there, I'd be furious. It's just not good enough from so many people in the game, and I'm worried because a lot of sports are going that way now, and I'm scared for the future of sport if this continues.
Yeah, I'm sure if I did go, a lot of people would say TalkSport's ratings would improve as well. But
Absolutely.
Irrelevant. Now, we're not too qualified to talk on this topic anyway with golf. We like golf, but we're not an expert. One man who is an expert, has worked on the Live Golf Tour recently over the past year or so, is Ollie Hampson, our golf correspondent. Let's hear what he thought.
I think John Rahm going to Live Golf is probably not going to be the end of it, to be honest. I think Tyrrell Hatton's been rumoured because Rahm's going to be starting his own team now, so he is going to need 3 more members to complete that roster. So whether or not he does look at some
Sports
of his
Personality
PGA
of the
guys
Year
and Tyrrell
nominees are
Hatton
announced
in
tomorrow. Who gets
particular,
your vote?
or if you
Emma
go through
Finnegan,
some of the
because
existing
she's the
Live Golf
fastest girl in the
members
world,
who
has
maybe are
been
looking for a new
amazing,
team at
come
the
through the
moment.
wash,
That'll be
cycling
interesting.
pathway,
For Rahm,
and she
it is
achieved
a bit of a
incredibly at the
difference
Worlds
from
this year.
his statements
Virat
just a year,
Kohli.
2 years ago,
One of
where
the
he
England rugby
was
players,
a bit
Farah
critical of Live Golf, but
Mary
to be
Herbst.
honest, he's now following
she's been
a lot
excellent
of
for-
these scripted lines saying it's good for the game of golf, it's good for my family, the innovation aspect of Live Golf. But to be honest, the rumored 600 million's probably played a massive part in it as well. I think the most interesting thing to keep an eye on now is the negotiations between the PGA and the PIF. If the PIF and Live Golf can still pick off guys like Jon Rahm, who's such a huge superstar in the sport of golf, maybe they're going to feel like they have the upper hand now going into any further negotiations, because if they have that pulling power to get guys like Jon Rahm, they're probably going to feel a bit confident that they are probably going to be the ones with a lot more power.
Yeah, Ollie Hampson there giving his thoughts on the Live Golf Tour. To be honest, Tobes, I think they are the ones with the most power at the moment. We've seen people and organisations from the Middle East host World Cups. We've seen the Live Golf Tour come in. They've got to deal with Netflix now to do live events. These guys are taking over.
Yeah, you know, money does change people, and it seems like it has there with Jon Rahm. And, you know, we did just have quite a passionate talk there about whether you'd go and whether I'd go, but money in this situation and in sport, it's what drives it. And I'm unsurprised that, you know, the countries here that have the most money in the Middle East are kind of taking over sport.
Yeah, Jon Rahm, obviously one of the best golfers in the world. And as long as we get to see him play, for me, I know people are talking about the money, the sport washing, but as long as I get to see him play, as long as we get to see the world's best golfers play, I don't mind. I don't mind too much, as long as I can potentially sneak onto some coverage. But anyways, we'll move on from this one, because I think we can go on all day about the money involved in the golfing world in general. Now, we'll go back to Will Stevens for a few more updates on news around other sports from around the globe.
Elsewhere in the sports world, the Professional Darts Corporation Tournament is being hosted at the iconic Alexandra Palace from 15th of December to 3rd of January. This year's total prize money is £2.5 million. Go-in price is aiming to become only the 7th player to be crowned a multiple PDC World Champion at the 2023-24 World Darts Championship, as he sets his sights on reclaiming the sport's biggest prize. The European Rugby Champions Cup kicked off underway last week. This weekend, Exeter scraped a win 19-18 against Toulon.
This ranks high, so high, even for a previous winner of this competition. A new, youthful team with that experience too, coming through at the end when it mattered most, has done what even the champion Exeter side would have been proud of. A stunning victory in Toulon.
Whilst the Harlequins beat Racing 92 31-28.
And Harlequins know that is a valuable victory.
Now there's big news in baseball, where Japanese player Shohei Ohtani has been offered a £700 million deal, a 10-year contract for the Dodgers at 29 years of age, making him one of the world's highest paid athletes. In cricket, England do not care about one-day cricket. Results show the same after ODI series loss against West Indies, who did not even qualify for the World Cup.
It's a puzzle. This is a terrific bunch of players, and confidence has just kind of whittled away, really. It started badly, it went worse, and from that point onwards, England lost a bit of faith in themselves. They lost faith in their strategy, the all-rounder strategy.
And lastly, the BBC Sports Personality of the Year Awards ceremony will take place on Tuesday, 19th of December. Who is your vote?
Well, lots to get through there, Toby. I think I want to start back on the topic of money. Yes, I'm back on it. Now, baseball's Shohei Ohtani, I believe I'm pronouncing that right,
Yeah, I believe so.
has gotten himself a $700 million contract with the LA Dodgers. I mean, wow. Jon Rahm, eat your heart out. We thought $450 million was a lot. My word, at 29 years of age, he's become the highest paid athlete in the entire world. Obviously, that is split across 10 years. It's going to be $70 million a year, but either way, $700 million. That puts him ahead of Ronaldo. That puts him ahead of Messi. Puts him ahead of Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback. It puts him ahead of Benzema, who's on that infamous $100 million a year out in, in the live-backed Saudi Arabian League.
Yep.
I've got some stats here, Tobes, of things you can buy with $700 million. First of all, you could get 4 Jude Bellinghams and still have 100 million left.
See, I think that is just crazy because he's such a good footballer. He's just known as one of the best in the world at the moment. He's still so young. So to think you can get 4 of him and still have £100 million left, or $100 million, sorry, crazy, mental.
Yeah, it's bonkers. You could buy 4 Jude Bellinghams and 1 washed up Paul Pogba with that kind of money. You could also get 225 private Guns N' Roses reunion concerts, which isn't that much because they're reportedly asking $3 million a show.
Oh my gosh.
You could get 45 million copies of Hot Pursuit on DVD, and you could get over 46 million copies of Kerplunk. Like yourself a bit of Kerplunk?
I think, I don't really know, not my type of music, I would say. Maybe
Not music, the game Kerplunk.
Is it?
The game where you put marbles.
As you said, I'm not a Kerplunk expert. My talents lie elsewhere, Matthew Purdy, I can say that.
You could give
for sure.
almost every adult in the UK a copy of Kerplunk with that kind of money. And to be honest, I think that'd bring a lot of joy to people this Christmas.
Matt, I think you're showing your age here. I can tell you that,
All right, what would you do with that money?
I would buy a new house, buy an island, buy a car. It would just be amazing. But, do you know what I would do, Matt? I'd still stay here on TalkSport just to say that I'm not selling myself out for the money. That's what I'd do, Matt. I'd stay here to educate you on the dangers of this type of money.
I'd take every single penny of that 700 million. I'd spend about 15 quid of it on a copy of Kerplunk and walk straight out of these doors.
You can show me what it is, Matt. You can show me what it is.
Right. Enough talk of money. Sports Personality of the Year nominees announced tomorrow, Toby. Now, if you don't know, we went out and we asked the people of Cardiff, before the nominees are announced, who they would like to see win their Sports Personality of the Year. Let's have a listen.
A country I thought so far. Jack Morgan. He led Wales to a World Cup quarter-final.
Jill Scott.
Lando Norris, because I think he's had a phenomenal season. I think he's just going from strength to strength. He's had some fantastic qualifying, which is so pivotal in F1. Has some good races, and I just think watch this space. So he's flown the flag.
Yes, some of the people of Cardiff there. I think we only got a little bit of that VT there, Toby, a few technical issues, but believe me, there was some good answers out there. I think we had Virat Kohli. I think we had some of the Lionesses.
There's a cyclist in there as well.
Yeah,
really showing the range of sports.
Yeah, so a lot of different choices. Your sports personality of the year, Toby, who are you going for?
I mean, I'm going to go for someone that we only mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, and I kind of showed my almost admiration for him then. I'm going to go Jude Bellingham.
Good shout.
Making that move, I know obviously, it's a yearly thing, but I think going from Birmingham to Dortmund, now to Real Madrid, he's just taken it in his stride, and I think people can look up to him. People can aspire to be like him, the young kids that are coming through academies, and I think that hard work, that kind of attitude that he's got to not only succeed, but to be the best. I mean, he's gone to Real Madrid. He's not very old at all. He's still, obviously, in the quite early stages of his career. I'm so impressed by him. And, he's just the type of player that I'd love at my club, but he's killing it.
Yeah. Do you know who I'd go for?
Who?
Mary Earps.
That's a good shout.
What a player. Yeah. Wow. Finalist at the World Cup this year with England. Saves a penalty in the final. Can't do much about the goal. It was a fantastic goal from the Spanish team. But my word, she's by far and away, in my opinion, the best female goalkeeper in the world. She does play for Man United, which detracts a little bit from it. But to be honest with you, Tobes, I can't think of another this year. I mean, text in if you think I'm wrong here. I can't think of another team or individual that's got to a final other than the Lionesses. For me, herself, maybe Bronze and Walsh, but really herself, best player in that tournament for England. Yeah, she's just phenomenal between the sticks. For me, Mary Earps should win.
Yep. I mean, she did give us the fighting chance in the final, and that's worth its weight in gold, really.
She's an absolute joke. But that leads me nicely. This is a link and a half. Here we go. From one Man United player to the men's team of Man United. Let's dive into this because crisis. My word, a 3-0 defeat at home to Bournemouth this weekend now. My word, what is going on there?
Oh, I don't know. It almost what's not going on there in terms of how bad it's gotten for Man United. I mean, whether it's just, the blame lies almost on everyone there. You'll hear Gary Neville go on about the owners and about, the leaky roof, how they're not fixing it. But I think it just lies on everyone. Like, the players, when I watch their match, disinterested. the manager clueless, and the owners, where are they? It's so poor, and it could have been 4-0 if Bournemouth didn't have a goal ruled out. Imagine that, losing 4-0 at home to Bournemouth when you're Manchester United. It's almost one of the worst performances and worst results since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and that's saying something considering how bad they've been, how poor they've been. If I was a Man United fan, I would not be happy with how they're playing at the moment.
Well, we will find out from some Man United fans who's happy and who's not. I think we may have a caller on the line. Hello, mate. What's your name and where'd you come from?
Will Hellerman, and I'm from Manchester.
Oh, Will, you don't sound like you're from Manchester, mate. You sure you're from Manchester?
Yeah, I moved up here from Cardiff.
Oh, okay, man. And you're a Man United fan?
Yeah, I've been all my life.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on the current situation at the club?
Shambolic, to be honest with you. The ownership seems shocking, the manager seems shocking, the players don't like they want to play for the club. It's just a bit all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're Ten Hag out, I presume.
Yes, strongly.
Who would you like in? Seen replace him?
I don't feel the problem is I feel like there are a couple of good managers about, but it's like, why would they want to come here right now? It seems like everyone that comes in just can't do the job that is needed to be done. Like they were on about Pochettino ages ago, but he's gone to Chelsea now, so I'm not really too sure. But right now I just want the boat to steady a bit. I'm not asking for much, just to not be losing every other week.
And Marcus Rashford, a lot of talk about him. Yeah, your thoughts on the lad? Does he stay? Does he go?
I think he stays, but it just there needs to be somebody else that steps up, because you can't entrust Rashford to get all your goals and carry a season along. I know he's hit a bad patch of form, but it feels like if he's not having a good game, Man United aren't having a good game.
Yeah, and looking ahead to tomorrow, do Man United qualify for the Champions League group final stages?
No.
All right, cheers. Well, have a good day, mate.
Thank you.
Some strong words there. I think shambolic from Will on the line there. It's a strong word, Tobes. Agree with him?
A strong accent as well there.
Yeah, by the way, Manchester have been since the day I was born. He's a Cardiff boy. Support your local team.
But yeah, no, I agree with what he's saying. I think he's got his head screwed on and probably echoes the thoughts of practically almost every Man United fan at the moment.
Yeah, so I think we may have some people... So we've got another caller on the line. What's your name and where'd you come from?
My name's Ben Perris and I come from Carnarvon in North Wales.
Another Welshie on the line. Must be slow day at work in Wales today. Ben, what are your thoughts on Man United at the moment?
Oh, they're playing shocking. The Ten Hag system just it's not working. I don't get why people blame the Glazers either. It makes no sense to me. Like they're blaming, you can't pin the Glazers like not fixing the roof at Old Trafford over that performance. Like McTominay's horrible. Like the thing about someone like Scott McTominay is he looks good on paper because he gets the goals in, but he's like a Fellaini. He makes the team worse. Like he's so bad in transition. He keeps losing the ball. But he scores like a few bangers at the 90th minute after having a shocker, and everyone thinks he's Pele. I mean, it's horrible.
So clearly not a fan of McTominay, but you said you don't care about the Glazers. It's all Ten Hag.
Well, I don't know if it's all Ten Hag, but there's a very deep structural issue at the club. I know it was like 10 years to a few days ago. Moyes was saying that the club needs to improve their defensively and in midfield, and there's been no change. Like since Michael Carrick left, we've had no good like holding midfielder. Do you know what I mean Pogba was a waste of money? Who've you got now? Do you know, it's shocking, man. It's shocking.
Yeah. So how would you fix this club overnight?
Well, for starters, we need to get all the divas out. I'm talking Anthony goes. Anthony Martial. I don't believe we're going to extend his contract next summer, so he's going to walk in as a free agent next summer. Sancho, I think could do with a good loan move. Maybe send him off to the Bundesliga. Get some good raw.
Does Rashford stay?
Yes, Rashford stays.
Definitely.
Unequivocally.
And tomorrow night, do you qualify for the Champions League latter stages?
That's a silly question. I think Harry Maguire, 90th minute winner to send us into the knockout.
Okay, I think we've heard enough of Ben Perris. Ben, have a good day, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's a hot take from Ben Paris there.
Yeah, that is a hot
Harry
take.
Maguire last-minute equaliser winner against Bayern Munich to send them through.
What a sight that would be.
I mean, I can't sit here and say I wouldn't like to see it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't, to be fair. I want them to go out. But still, if it's going to be someone, Harry Maguire, take it away, son. I'd love it.
I mean, it's a home game, so it's going to be big for them. We've had some interesting opinions. I thought we'd have a bit more controversy than that, but obviously everyone against Ten Hag. Tobes, before we go to the ad break, I've got to ask you, do Man United qualify?
No. I mean, to try and beat Bayern Munich at home, that's a difficult task. Bayern Munich, of course, did just lose 5-1, which is really poor in their standards. But Man United have just lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. I mean, it would be a monumental task, and there's a chance here that Man United finish bottom of their group, a group that consists of, and no disrespect, FC Copenhagen. I've been to Copenhagen, beautiful city, but in the grand scheme of Europe, not a great footballing club, and it's just not. In my head, it's just not a likely outcome. Yeah. Of course, with football, all things are possible, but it's just not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We'll be back later on with some more chat about the Champions League, previewing more of that tomorrow. We're off to an ad break now, but we'll be back in just a few moments discussing tomorrow's non-Premier League football with a few more callers on our Championship chat. See you then.
See you.